Alright. Hi everyone, and welcome to Dynamite, or Might. I, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone, and Montel Vertadius Porter here. And today on Dynamite, or Might, we're going to see the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter here, Mora, from Disney's Mora, if we're saying her name right, Mike Lane says. Well, that's right, Tony Schiavone says. That's right, Mike. We got Mora, the TWF heavyweight fighter and world heavyweight fighter. And to be earnest with you, I don't know if we're saying her name right or not. And she can't stand up in the ring. Stand up. And she can't stand up in the ring, Tony Schiavone says, but I don't even know, Mike Lane, if we're saying her name right or not. Well, who really cares if we're saying her name right or not? Montel Vertadius Porter says. Mike and Tony, she is the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter, and she's here today on Dynamite or Might, so we're going to see what's going to happen. That's right, Mike Lane said. We're going to see what's going to happen. Montel Vertadius Porter says, who's she going to wrestle? Will her winnings be on stake? Will she lose to some heel? We don't know, Mike. We don't know, Tony. You got that right, Mike Lane says, Montel Vertadius Porter. You don't know. Well, you don't know what's going on or not. You don't know why she's here, if her win's going to be on stake or not. You're right about that, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone said. Mora's here today, the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter, and we don't know what she's doing here. So, upper leadership asked me to come here today because they seem to have a belief that I'm not putting my TWF heavyweight winnings on stake as sundriest times as I should. Now, the last time I did, I think it was a month ago, or need be 2 months ago, when I beat Big E Langston and won back the world heavyweight winnings, for the 2th time. Now, I'm not going to go say if that was a mistake to have the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings on bonded or not, but at the time it seemed to be. So, I'm here today. I'm putting my TWF heavyweight winnings on stake here today against who? Your guess is as good as mine, because I don't truly know. In a downtown. Stand up! Stand up! Well, guess who came to the ring now? It's Austin Theory, Mike Lane says, and we know him being here, nothing good will come out of it, Mike Lane says. And that's right, Tony Schiavone says. Austin Theory is still being a bully here in the toy wrestling gathering, and his mindset has not shifted. I'll tell you one thing, Mike and Tony. I like his mindset. I like his stand. I like his behavior. I think he got what it takes to. Shit. Stand up. I think he's got what it takes, to make it here in the toy wrestling gathering, Montel Vertadius Porter says. Unlike Moore, with wakefulness is not her friend and made her fall down. So, Mora. So, Mora, you wonder what I'm doing here, right? Well, I'm here to beat you. You see, you think you're so cool because you're Hawaiiish, whatever a South Island, Southeast Islander, or whatever. But do you all know it's true that Hawaii's land is in the Southeast Islands? It's not a slight of North Vinland, even though Hawaii's land is one of the 50 Reichs of the 4-1 Reichs. But I'm here to tell you, do you even know the yesteryear of your land? Oh, I know the yesteryear of my land, Mora says. It started out as sundry as kingdoms, which became one kingdom. Then the kingdom was overthrown for the Folkreich. Then the Folkreich got overthrown for the settling. First, Hawaii's land was nothing more than sundry as kingdoms. Then Hawaii's land became the kingdom. Then it became a Folkreich. And then it became a settling of the 4-1 Reichs before becoming one of the Reichs. One of the 50 Reichs of the 4-1 Reichs. Are we talking about yesteryear? Or do you want, or you got something you want? I came out here to let you know that what happened in Hawaii's land, which was bad in its own way, is not going to be as bad as me taking the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings. It's going to make what happened to the kingdom of Hawaii's land, the Folkreich of Hawaii's land, the settling of Hawaii's land, and the Reich of Hawaii's land look nothing more than a shift of law motes. It's going to make that look be more cool than that. And when I win the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings, you're no one in Hawaii's land, firstborn or not, it's going to have really nothing to be happy about. Oh, they might still be one of the 50 Reichs of the 4-1 Reichs. They still might be, in the Southeast Islands. But they ain't going to have you as a TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. Well, let me tell you something, Austin Theory. You can slight me all you want. But I'm not going to know. You are not going to slight me. You're not going to shame me. And you're not going to guilt me. And you're not going to scathe me. And you're not going to bring up what happened to my Reich. Alright? You're not going to, you're not going to bring up about how Hawaii's land started out as the kingdom of Hawaii's land. Then it became the Folkreich of Hawaii's land. And you're not going to, and no, you go to bring up about how it became the settling of the 4-1 Reichs before becoming one of the Reichs of the 4-1 Reichs. Anyway, I am truly happy to be a Hawaii's folk. I'm truly happy to be a Southeast Islander, a Hawaii's lander, and I'm happy to be a 4-1 Reicher. Even if Hawaii's land is in the Southeast Islands and not in North Vinland. But if I'm going to beat you, I'll still be the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. Then you're going to have nothing to look forward to. You know. And since we're talking about yesteryear and all that other things before we have our match, do you want to know the man who seated North Vinland and South Vinland? It wasn't Christopher Colombo. It was a man called Leif Erikson. So he kind of beat Christo Colombo to North and South Vinland. He was the first one to get there. Yeah. And guess what? I'm going to put my flag down by knocking your... And just like what Leif Erikson did when he wanted to take Greenland, when he settled what would become Greenland, I'm going to knock your head off. Ah! Well, you do know one thing, Tony Schiavone says. Mora and Austin Theory could have a whole yesteryear class if they wanted to, and bring up all the things that happened in yesteryear, which are still happening to this day, Mike Lane says. But I don't know if that will give her upper hand or not, Mike Lane says. Austin Theory is the one that brought up that her losing the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings. He wants to say that was like when the Kingdom of Hawaiiland became the Folk Reich of Hawaiiland, before it became the settling of the Hawaiiland, before it became the Reich of Hawaiiland. I don't know why he brought that up for, Mike Lane says. The only grounds I can come up with for it, Tony Schiavone says, is that he was hoping to shame or slight Mora by bringing up the yesteryear of the Reich that she lives in. You know. That's why he did it, Tony Schiavone says. Well, Montel Arcadius Porter says, I don't really think he had any right to bring up the yesteryear of Hawaiiland. Everyone knows Hawaiiland started out as a kingdom, then a folk Reich, then a settling, and then a Reich. We all know that. Why he would do it to slight Mora is beyond me, Montel Arcadius Porter said, but I can tell you one thing. It was truly cool that he knew it yesteryear about the 50th Reich of the 4-1 Reichs, Montel Arcadius Porter says. Well, this is for the TWF. Stand up! This is for the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winning. First, he is Austin Theory, and she is the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter, Mora. Ding ding ding. Now, how is he going to get past this one? Austin Theory might think that he's done. Oh, Mora just knocked him right down. Austin Theory has to watch out for the Hawaii strike or the Samoa strike. No, she's Hawaiian, not Samoas. I guess there is a kind of unlikeness between the kind of folks in the speech. You know, there is some kind of unlikeness between the Southeast Islanders. Mike Lane said, which includes the Hawaiian folk, the Samoas folk, and the Maori folk, and the firstborn folks that live in Southern Land in New Zealand. You know. Right now, and more right now, standing up, body slam. Mora standing up for the 50th Reich of the 4-1 Reichs Hawaiiland, and no need of its yesteryear. You know, Mora is going to make Austin Theory yield for slighting her here today on Dynamite or Might, Mike Lane says. Well, Tony Schiavone says, you know, Mora right now Mora got Austin Theory and then just suplexed him without a body slam, Tony Schiavone says. It's one of those two. Well, with some kind of hold. I think that is a body slam, Tony Schiavone said. Yes, it was, Mike Lane said. It was a body slam, Tony Schiavone. Oh, well, you know, more out there. She shouldn't let Austin Theory get to her, Montel Arcadius Porter says. Anytime you let someone get to you, you're going to give them the upper hand. And now Mora just missed. And Austin Theory is going to give her the A downtown. Austin Theory is hoping that he will beat Mora and become the new TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. And we already had a dirtbag. We already had a shithead, Mike Lane said, as a TWF heavyweight and world TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. He was MJF. And do we really want Austin Theory to be that, Mike Lane says. No, I do not think so, Tony Schiavone says. We don't really want another shithead as a TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. 1, 2, and oh, only a 2. Where you get off saying that Austin Theory's a shithead, Montel Rotadius Porter says, and saying that he's as bad as Maxwell Jacob Friedman. A downtown again tomorrow. Austin Theory's hoping Austin Theory's going to beat this Disney self. He's then going to become the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. And then you'll have to say you're sorry for calling him a shithead, Montel Rotadius Porter said. 1, 2. Morally kicked out again. Austin Theory, Mora kicked out again, Mike Lane says. Oh, the Hawaii strike. The Southeast Islander strike. The Southeast Islander strike by Mora on Austin Theory, Mike Lane says. Tony Schiavone says, is Mora going to keep the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings? No, Montel Rotadius Porter says, you can't let this Disney self beat you. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Here is your winner. And still the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter, Mora. Well, Mora is still the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. She's beat Austin Theory here today on Dynamite, Mike Lane says. Yes, she did, Tony Schiavone says, Mike. There were many times in this match where Austin Theory thought he had the upper hand, that he thought he had the upside on her, but it shifted not to be so. You know what, Montel Rotadius Porter says? Mike and Tony, you two got to say you're sorry for calling Austin Theory a shithead. Now that's a slight right there. And who would have known what kind of TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter Austin Theory would have made if he would have beaten Mora? You know? So, I think that's kind of sad. I think Austin Theory got buried. I think he got besmirched. I think he got ended. That's only my belief, Montel Rotadius Porter says. Alright, Bob Walk, take it away. Alright, Tony Schiavone. And alright, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. I am here with the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter Mora, if I'm saying that Hawaiish borrowed name right. You beat Austin Theory here today on Dynamite, or Mike, and you are still the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. Austin Theory seek to slight you here today by bringing up the yesteryear of the 50th Reich of the 4-1 Reich's Hawaiish land. Yes, he did, Bob Walk. And everyone knows that Hawaiish land has been one of the 50th Reich of the 4-1 Reichs since 9 between 59 YL, still making it kind of young. Alright? We all know Hawaiish land started out as a bunch of small kingdoms before becoming the kingdom of Hawaiish land. Before the kingdom was overthrown and becoming the folk Reich of Hawaiish land, before some folks overthrew that, and it gotten taken over by the 4-1 Reichs, and it became the settling of the 4-1 Reichs and then after 9 between 59 YL, it got its Reichhood, and it became one of the Reichs of the 4-1 Reichs. But anyway, we all know about that yesteryear. Austin Theory thought that he could slight me. He thought that would give him the upper hand and the upside on me. But as you can see here today, Bob, that was not true. Austin Theory is a shithead. Alright? Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone don't have to worry about saying they're sorry to Austin Theory, since Austin Theory never said he was sorry to anyone in his whole life. See, I know how Austin Theory behaves like. You know, this was a man who started shit when he was in WWE. He was on NXT, then Raw, NXT, then Raw, then SmackDown. He's still the same creep that he's been. And when he came to the toy wrestling gathering earlier this year, he was still being a creep. So Austin Theory, you can take, your mindset, your stand, your behavior, and you can shove it. You can put it up your rear hole. I beat you. And at the end of the day, I still the TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. And you can bitch all you want, Austin Theory, about, oh, you got buried, oh, you got besmirched, oh, you weren't booked right, you weren't written right. Well, anyway, Austin Theory, my man, you need to learn some manners, some class, and some on-look. That's what I need to say about you. And God and Jesus forgive you for everything you said and did, just like God and Jesus forgive me for everything I said and did that was wrong. Anyway, well, whoever wants to dare me for my TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight winnings, come out here. I'll take you on, and I'm not frightened to take up any dare. Alright, Mora, we all onlook you, for the onlook. We all onlook you for the class and onlook that you have as a TWF heavyweight and world heavyweight fighter. And we look forward to seeing your upcoming matches and fights here. Well, thank you, Bob Walk. That's all the time I got. Back to you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. Thank you, Bob Walk, for talking with Laura here today on Dynamite or Might. And it is all the time we got here for Dynamite or Might. I, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone, Montel Vertadius Porter, we hoped you liked Dynamite or Might. And we'll see you tomorrow for Impact on XSTV or Smash on Inside SFS.